So, it is now time to talk about Funny Games from 1997, directed by prolific Austrian filmmaker Michael Haneke, and he has quite the vast filmography.
Yes, he has a career behind him. He has directed countless theater performances, he's directed television, and he's directed about 12 feature films, 2 of which, The White Ribbon and Amour, have won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
He has sort of a running theme throughout his filmography, and that theme is violence.
Yes. When this was shown at Cannes, about a third of the audience just walked out.
I feel like Funny Games is a scathing satire on the desensitization and the sensationalism of violence in American media.
He originally wanted to film this in America in 1997, but just didn't have the means to at the time.
Right.
However, in 2007, he was able to, and he filmed a complete shot-by-shot remake with American actors and an American crew. However, when it premiered in America, it had a very cold reception.
So, what is Funny Games about?
So there's this family, a mother, a father, and a son, and they are going up to their lake house to have a little vacation. However, while they are getting settled at their lake house, these 2 boys just show up asking for eggs, and that turns into these 2 boys mercilessly torturing and killing this family.
This is one of the most tense films I've ever seen. Starting with the boys asking for the eggs. It's incredibly uncomfortable. The tension sort of builds off of that situation, and it really never lets up.
Yes.
And it plays out almost in real time. But that just sort of adds to the uncomfortableness of the whole situation.
Yeah.
And is incredibly effective.
This movie has a lot of fourth wall breaks.
Yes.
There's a great theater practitioner. His name is Bertolt Brecht, and he created this type of theater called epic theater, and it was all about sharing and spreading a political message. However, in order for that message to reach an audience, you had to make sure the audience was not connected to the narrative at all. So in order to do that, he created a couple techniques in order to distance the audience. One of those techniques was breaking the fourth wall.
Das ist aber feig. Wir sind doch noch unter Spielfilmlänge. Ist dir schon genug? Sie wollen doch ein richtiges Ende mit plausibler Entwicklung, oder?
What this is doing is sort of making the audience aware that they're watching a movie. And it sort of takes away the immersion to some degree, which is typically used for comedic effect.
A lot of people will tell you that a good phony fever is a deadlock, but you get a nervous mother, you could wind up in a doctor's office. That's worse than school.
Haneke uses these fourth wall breaks to call out the audience for their complicity in watching this family be brutally murdered while they are just sitting there watching. So the distancing of the audience and the narrative kind of starts off from the very beginning with the opening title sequence.
Yeah, it does. There's like this amazing sequence when they're driving to the lake house, and Susan Lothar pops in a CD and they're listening to classical music. And the way the opening titles happen, it's a very jarring clash of music from John Zorn. And it's just so much louder than anything else.
Yeah.
And it keeps on for like a very uncomfortable amount of time, basically until they get there. It's also interesting too because Haneke really does not use any sort of non-diegetic music. Pretty much all of the music he uses happens in the film's universe.
Yeah.
But this film is kind of a special case because he does want to ruin that immersion. And it's hard to empathize with the family when the illusion is shattered.
Yeah.
Because you're now accomplices to what's happening.
And you're made aware that the family is not real.
Das geht nicht. Gewettet muss werden. Was meinen Sie? Denken Sie, Sie haben eine Chance zu gewinnen? Sie sind doch auf Ihrer Seite, oder? Also, auf wen setzen Sie?
So really, you as the audience are just watching these 2 boys terrorize this family for entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's really all that it is.
Quintessential feel-bad movie.
Exactly.
So there's one point in the film where we're almost given a little piece of relief from all of this violence, and that's when Susan Lothar's character is able to grab a gun and shoot one of the boys in the chest. However, that is immediately taken away from us when Paul just grabs the remote and rewinds it. Hanukkah does not allow us to even have a moment of relief from all of this. It's just an onslaught the entire time.
The audience should sort of come to a realization that they are, in fact, being manipulated.
Yeah, not only from this film, but other forms of media as well.
The two boys, who we think are named Peter and Paul, however, they go by several different names.
Yeah, they go by Tom and Jerry, and they go by Beavis and Butthead. Fatty, he calls the heftier one, the heftier one Fatty. He even makes up a fake backstory for Fatty as well.
Es ist auch nicht wahr, was ich sagte. Das wissen Sie genauso gut wie ich. Sehen Sie ihn an. Glauben Sie, dass aus kleinen, dreckigen Verhältnissen stammt?
And really, the only motive we're left with is these two boys are murdering and torturing this family for fun.
Und sie amüsieren sich mit dem Leben und den Schmerzen von Menschen genauso wie andere damit, dass sie die kleinen Buben der Fliege die Beine ausreißen oder die Flügel ausreißen. Es ist die gleiche Art von unschuldigen, unter Anführungszeichen, Lust am Bösen.
The filmmaking in Funny Games is incredible.
Yes.
Hanukkah's camera work is amazing as always. He typically uses really long takes, really long shots, the longest one being 10 minutes long.
That one is incredibly effective in this movie, where it's right after the son is shot in the face and the husband is knocked out and the wife is tied to a chair and the two boys have gone off. They had left them for a second. And we are just left with Suzanne Lothar just really feeling the full extent of what has happened to them.
Yeah, and that is one of my favorite moments of the film, is when the child gets shot and Paul is just in the kitchen making a sandwich casually, and you don't even see it happen.
Soll ich jemand was mitbringen?
And you hear what's happening too. However, it doesn't cut back to them after he is shot. It just stays on Paul making a sandwich.
And there is also that really cheeky shot with the blood splatter all over the television.
Kind of an on-the-nose metaphor.
Kind of, but I do think it's effective and
for sure.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So the violence in this film is, like we said before, it's very cold and matter-of-fact. And it just creates this very uncomfortable atmosphere, because the violence plays out almost exactly as it would in real life.
Not only that, but the performances too, the reactions of the actors really tie into the full depth of those scenes, you know?
And likewise, Naomi Watts and Tim Roth do a really amazing job in the remake, portraying these emotions as well. If you want to watch something like this, it is more challenging and it will pinch some nerves.
Aber das lohnt sich doch eigentlich überhaupt nicht. Diese ganze Prozedur wegen einer Schachtel Eier.
If you don't like it, that's fine. You're not wrong for disliking this movie.
Yeah, this movie...
It's almost designed to be disliked, in a way.
It is almost designed to be disliked, for sure.
However, I do think it's a very important film. And if you're into film, it's certainly worth watching both versions.
Mikhail Haneke is a master at his craft.
He really is.
Das Genre des Thrillers, oder wie man das nennen will, über die Manipulation durch das Medium per se zu reflektieren. Man hätte es auch mit einem anderen Genre machen können, aber natürlich bietet sich ein Spannungsfilm am ehesten dazu an, dem Zuschauer vor Augen zu führen, wie manipulierbar er ist.